Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you as you purchase your next home. I'm very excited to be with you on this journey, whether it's to purchase your dream home or your next investment property. I take that responsibility and this honor very seriously. And so thank you very much for this opportunity to serve you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the process and what it'll look like, some of the things that we'll go through and some of the steps that we'll take, and hopefully answer a lot of your questions. And if you have more, then I would love to chat with you about those and answer those. So let me begin by just saying thank you for letting the Linear team serve you on your home buying journey. We're excited to be a part of this process and take it very seriously and love to help people purchase homes, believe so much in home ownership. And I want to tell you a little bit about us. Our promise to you is that we are going to make this simple. Real estate is complicated, and so that's why we're here. We'll be here to answer your questions and walk through every step of the way to get you to into your new home. So we're very excited to be a part of that. We do have a great team, so let me tell you a little bit about them. So obviously, we are the Lanier team. Bill Lanier has been selling real estate for over 30 years here in the Midland, Odessa area, and his family before that, his mom before that. So lots and lots of experience selling real estate specifically, but specifically in our Midland and Odessa area. And Bill is just a wealth of knowledge and has a really great reputation around our community for not just doing a great job selling real estate, but for caring for people. And so that is who our team is named after. And then, of course, we've got Jody Campbell and Kim Lewis. Jody is our listing coordinator, and so she handles more on the listing side when we are selling a home, and does a fantastic job. Also, has a lot of boots on the ground for lots of things happening around the area. And then Kim Lewis is someone who you will interact with once we find the right home and get an accepted offer and go under contract. Kim is our transaction coordinator, and I love working with Kim because she just takes care of all of the details. There are hundreds of things that have to happen from going under contract to closing and you getting to get into your new home. And Kim makes sure that all of those things are not just happening, but they're happening on time and they're happening the way that they're supposed to. So Kim is amazing and she saves my life over and over again. I love her. Both Kim and Jody are just amazing. And then Madison Ford, who you see up there, also helps with a lot of our administration and is also a real estate agent. Actually, everyone on our team is a licensed agent. And but Madison, you may run into her going and grabbing some things, running around town, that kind of thing. We have some other agents that if I'm out of town and you need to look at a house, we have some other agents that can step in and help with that, or that we can even bounce things off of. So the team really helps. You get 8 of us for the price of one, and so it's an amazing thing. And we are all here to work for you and to serve you. So thank you for letting us be a part of this. We work with people who are selling homes or listing sellers, and then we also work with buyers like you and do a lot of that. So I'm going to kind of keep moving past that. This is a little bit about what we've done throughout our time and some of our experience. The short of it is we're really good at what we do. I'll let you look some more at that, but we're good at what we do and we take pride in doing a great job. And then steps to home ownership. So this is where it starts to get fun, right? So the first thing is that you hire the Linear team. You hire us to help you with your home purchase, and then we help you find a lender. There are lots of great lenders around town, and we can send you a list of lenders that would be great to work with you. It's always a great idea to get quotes from different lenders. Sometimes different people are able to do different things, maybe with different rates or even just what they can approve you for. I know for me personally, there have been different times where I've gone to a few lenders that are great and I love, but they were not able to help me with specifically what I was trying to do. And I talked to a different one and they were able to help me. And so talking to different lenders is a really great approach, and they can do a soft pull on your credit so it's not hurting your credit or anything like that. And then we get to do the fun part. This is the part that everybody loves and that everybody secretly does all the time in their bedroom on their phone: search for a home. All right. And so I will put together a list and be sending you homes. I know that you're probably also going to be on realtor.com or Zillow or something like that. And so send some to me. But find some homes, then we'll schedule it and we'll go check those out, go view them. And so I will schedule those. And so sometimes it takes a minute to hear back from the sellers or the other agent of, confirming that we can go. But I'll schedule all of that, take care of all that, put a plan together for where we're going, when, all that kind of thing. And then we'll walk through the homes, we'll look at what's great about them, part of my job is not just to tell you what's great about the home, but also what could potentially be a negative. Because there's positive and negatives to every single property. And so I want that's one way that I serve you, is to tell you both the positive and the negative. I don't feel that my job is to sell you a home, right? That's the seller's job, is to sell you a home. I'm just helping you find the right one, the one that checks the boxes for you and that is the right fit for you. All right, so I doesn't matter to me which home you buy. I want you to get the right one for you. So that's the fun process. That's the part that everybody thinks about when they think about buying a home, is the home search. So it is fun, and we'll get to see some homes, and maybe you fall in love with the first one, or maybe you fall in love a little bit later down the line. But we'll find the right one for you. And excuse me. And then once we find the right home, then we get to write up an offer. And so what I'll do is I will ask some questions of you, some financial questions about, what the offer price is, what we are going to offer, and a few different things. There's a few variables that we can go back and forth on, and some of that depends on the home, and some of it depends on your desires. And so we'll walk through all that. I'll record all that, and then I'll send that to Kim, and she will type up the contract and then send it over to us, and we can go through that. And then when you feel comfortable about it, you can sign that, and then we'll turn that into the sellers. And that is our official offer. We write up the full contract so that they could literally just sign on the dotted line. Most of the time they don't. Most of the time they come back and they want to talk about something. But I have actually had that happen. One time, a seller, they never told me anything. I just was sitting there and I looked down, I had an email that we had a signed contract. And I was like, okay, I guess we're buying the house. This is gonna be great. But most of the time they'll come back and we'll work through that. So all throughout the process, there's multiple points at which we will negotiate things. And that's part of my job, is to negotiate those things, to give you advice and recommendations and wisdom on those things, different approaches, ways that we can approach things. That's part of my job, is to bring that to you, so to kind of demystify a lot of that and make that simple. I will also, before we even write up an offer, I'm going to run a market analysis on the house that you love to see what the price should be. See if it's in a good price range, right? Pricing a home is more about a range than a specific dollar amount. And so we want to just make sure that it's in a good range where you feel good about it and it's going to protect you in the long term. We don't want you to pay too much for a house. We would love for you to pay too little for a house. And so sometimes that happens, every now and then, but no promises. But we'll do that. And then once we get under contract, so we send them the offer, and then once they signed, they send it back to us, it's executed. And that means we are under contract, and everybody celebrates. And then, so that begins our option period. The option period is optional, but it's so highly recommended. I would not recommend anyone ever skipping the option period. And it's typically 10 days. You pay a little bit of a fee for that. And during that 10 days or 7 days or whatever the amount of time is that we agree on, you can literally decide not to buy the house and get out of the contract for any reason at all. You could wake up one day and just say, I just don't think I want to do this anymore. And you can cancel the contract, and all you lose is that option money. The option money is usually around a couple $100, $200 to $300. It can vary a little bit, but not too much off of that. And so it's very, very powerful, and it protects a bigger sum that you put down called the earnest money. And so anyway, it's a great thing. We also run inspections during that time. We always all of them, again, are optional, but I highly recommend doing at least a general inspection. General inspectors go through and they look at the home, look according to codes. They look at things that might be concerning. They check all the faucets. They check and make sure everything that is supposed to work is working. And so I highly, highly recommend doing that. And then they may say, hey, there's a drain that is draining really slow. I recommend doing this. Or they may look at the roof and say, hey, I recommend getting this checked out. And so then we can go from we can go through and see if there are other inspections that we want to do, but I always recommend at least doing that one. And in West Texas, we typically also encourage a pest inspection. And just because there can be termites and signs of termite damage, that kind of thing. And we just want to know that before we go in. I would hate for you to get into a home and 2 years later realize that termites have been eating up a specific wall, and now you've got a lot of damage to repair, something like that. So that's why we recommend those things. We look through it before we go under contract, look through the house and see what's great about it. But then when we're on the option period, we really want to look under the hood and see, get into the real nitty gritty of the house and really do our diligence to be sure this is going to be the right home for you. And then once we get those reports back, it goes into negotiation again, where we'll look at those lists of things, and there will be things. Every single home, even brand new homes, have things that are not quite right or not up to code or aren't. Just no home is perfect. Okay, no home is built perfectly, and every single thing is just completely perfect. And so there will be things, and it is the inspector's job to find everything possibly wrong with the house. They come across as very negative people, but they're great, and we need them to do their job well. And so we'll look at that list, and there'll be some things on there that don't matter, that aren't necessarily a big deal. And there will be some things on there that maybe are a big deal. And we want to talk about those, and we'll go back to the sellers and negotiate possibly some repairs or some money for you to do repairs. We'll renegotiate a few different ways to handle that. And then once we agree, we want to agree on terms with that. We'll sign what's called an amendment. Typically, we do need to do an amendment and to just tweak the contract. And we'll do all that by 5 o'clock on the last day of the option period. We may get done 3 days before option's over, and that's fine. It still continues on, but we want to do that at least, we have to do it at least by 5 o'clock on the last day of the option period. And so, and we'll keep you up to date with when that is and that kind of thing. So that's kind of the hot and heavy part right there. I want to take this moment just to can give you a little bit of expectation on you're hearing about these inspections, and so one thing I would like to be sure of is to make sure that you know kind of what money you're going to need up front. When we get an accepted offer, there's a few things that happen. There's the option money that you'll need to pay and the earnest money. The option money is, like I said, is usually $200 to $300. The earnest money is usually 1% of the purchase price. So if it's a $300,000 home, then it's $3,000. And so that money is due within 3 days of us going under contract. So that's money you'll need to turn in right then. So say the option money is $300 and the earnest money is $3,000, then you will need to turn in $3,300 to the title company within 3 days of going under contract. So just want to make sure that you know that and you're ready for that. And I'm happy to come and get that delivered to the title company on your behalf. But we do have to get that in order for you to get that option period and in order to protect you. So be ready for that. And then also the inspections. A general inspection can cost between $500 and $700, even more if it's a larger home. And then a termite inspection can cost around $300. If you want to scope it, that could be a few hundred. Scope drains and things like that. That could be a few $100s. So I always recommend to be ready to spend around $1,000 on inspections. So in review, you're buying a $300,000 home. You're going to be looking at around 4,300, around 4,000 to maybe even up to 5,000, depending on some of the inspections you want to run, that you'll need to have in hand up front. Now, the earnest and option money, that goes toward your closing. That goes toward the purchase of your home. The inspections, those are just out-of-pocket expenses. And so that does not go toward the purchase of your home. Those are you're just paying someone to do a service, just like you would pay someone to mow your lawn or a plumber to come and fix your toilet. So anyway, those are some of the costs, and I can totally answer more questions about that if you have more questions. Then once we get through the option period, again, that's the hot and heavy time. We go through financing and insurance. You make sure you got your home insurance lined up. You're going to be working a lot with your lender if you have one, in order to get them all the documents that they need. And they're going to need a lot. They're going to ask a lot of questions, and it can feel a little personal. Just know that it's not about you. A lot of real estate is about everyone covering their tracks and covering their rears. And so the lenders are going to make sure they're going to do a deep dive on all of your finances to be sure that they're ready to give you. They're going to loan you probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, and so they're just making sure that they're ready to enter into this relationship with you. And so it's everyone who is using a lender, which is most people. Everyone goes through this process. So if you feel like it's a little, I've had a few clients and friends that felt like it was a little personal. Just know that that's not about you. It's nothing wrong. That's just the process. And so what I always just tell people is give them what they want. Whatever they ask for, just give it to them. If you want to buy the house and get the loan, just give them what they're asking for. And so we'll go through that, and we'll continue to guide you through that. Your lender will be working with you real closely on all of that, and then we will be updating you on things that are happening, appraisals and things like that. Step 7 there's title search and appraisal and survey. And so the title company will do research on the title of the home, making sure that the sellers have the right to sell the home and no one else has a claim on it. And then they're going to issue a title policy based on that research. And it's basically an insurance policy saying if someone was to come in 5 years with a claim on the home, we as the title company are going to take care of that. Typically the seller pays for that, but not always. That is one of those, almost pretty much everything in real estate is negotiable. But typically that's paid for the seller, but every now and then that comes back to a buyer on negotiations. The appraisal will happen. That'll be your lender will take care of that. Make sure that, again, they're covering to make sure that the purchase is not just good for you, but it's good for them as well. So they want to make sure that if you're paying $300,000 for the home, that it's worth $300,000. If depending on what kind of loan you're getting, a VA or an FHA, it could have some extra requirements on it, and we can talk about that in a minute. And then there's a survey, which is optional. A lot of times the seller will provide one if they have it, and if not, then a lot of times that comes on the buyer to purchase. We always recommend it, even in especially if you're out in the country. Those lines can get the lines of the property can get real confused over years. But even in the city, maybe somebody's fence is not quite on the line, and you want to know that. You want to know if someone took a couple of feet of your backyard. Are you okay with that? What does that look like? Or maybe you have a couple extra feet, and could that come back on you later? That's why we recommend those things. You want to have we want to make sure you have all the knowledge up front before you close and purchase the home, so that it doesn't come back on you later. So that's title, appraisal, survey, and then finally we get to close, and the lender approves you a few times throughout that process. We get to go. It's the exciting day. You sign. If you're buying cash, it's not very thick, but if you're buying with a loan, like most people, it can be a pretty thick document. You sign a whole bunch of papers. The title company will explain everything as you're going through. They'll tell you exactly what you're signing, and then you'll bring the down payment, and you'll bring your closing funds, and and then you get to close. We sign everything, and then after it funds is typically when you receive the keys. Unless we've done there's a few things that can change that, but for the most part, that's when you get the keys. Is once you have signed and the sellers have signed, then a little bit after that is when everything funds. That means that all final approvals are done, all the paperwork is in, and then the title company begins to send money to all the places that it needs to go. And so that is funding. And like I said, it happens after everyone is signed. And then once everything is funded, that is the typical time when you will get to have the keys and you can go into your beautiful new home. And so that is the buying process. So let me know if you have other questions about that. And for our purposes here, we will keep going. Writing off, there's a little bit of information here. I've talked through a lot of that, but I'm going to send you this document, and you can look over some more of that if you want. And then the 10 commandments of buying a home. Essentially, they all boil down to don't take out new lines of credit. Don't buy a car on credit. Don't buy furniture on credit. I know you're getting ready for your home, but don't do it on credit. Wait until you close. Don't do anything that messes with your credit, including just big purchases. Even if they're cash, you want to talk to your lender about that. Don't spend your down payment money. known of people, you would never do this, but we've known of people that have spent their down payment money to buy wheels for their truck. And then they didn't have the money to pay the down payment and they didn't get to purchase the home. So we don't want that to be you. So don't make big purchases without talking to your lender. Don't open any new lines of credit without talking to your lender. It's not always a no. I had some clients that we were having this discussion. They were literally at the car dealership signing to purchase a car they had been saving for and looking forward to for a long time. And so I said, stop signing, call your lender, and just talk to them. Talk to your lender. And so they did. They called their lender, and the lender said, yes, you're good, go for it. So they did. But it's important to check with your lender first because they are the ones that are going to approve all of the funds. Once you're signed, do what you want. But between going on under contract and signing and closing, just be real careful with those things. You can look over that some more too. These are some expectations of the lender. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this. We will send you some emails as we get closer to closing that will have some reminders on that. And but be prepared to bring a cashier's check to closing, or you can wire funds. Be real careful when you wire funds. Be sure that you don't wire anything. This is not just in real estate, but it happens a lot for real estate. Never wire based on an email that you received. Always call and verify. If you're talking with West Texas Abstract and that's where we're closing, and you need wiring instructions, don't go off of an email because someone could spoof an email and give you a wrong location to wire funds. And it's sadly, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to ever get that money back. And so you always want to just verify with the company that you're sending the funds to be sure that you've got that right. But you can look over that some more. So FHA loans are government-backed loans, and this runs for VA loans as well. They are government-backed loans, and so there are some more restrictions on them. The idea is to make sure that the home is safe and for you in its current condition. But there are some things that could get called on an FHA or a VA loan. And in particular, things that are unsafe, electrical that's not done correctly, or there's codes change over years, right? And so if the service head is too low, it needs to be raised. That's something that could come up. Or sometimes a gas line needs to be upgraded. There's things like that. And so just to know that those are things that we can negotiate, but something that we'll have to look at. And most of the time, homes that they don't want to deal with FHA repairs or anything like that, they will not list it as available for an FHA loan. And so we will narrow that down so that we're not looking at homes that wouldn't apply to that. Every now and then, a home that somebody doesn't really want to sell as FHA, maybe they'll be willing to work with you on that. But for the most part, we want to just kind of stick to the ones that are FHA eligible. But things like broken windows, deteriorating mortar, or exterior paint that is falling apart. Those are a lot of the things that get called on FHA repairs. And sometimes they call a whole bunch, sometimes they don't close a whole lot. So I call a whole lot. So sometimes you have to just kind of see. Then we close. We'll do a walkthrough before closing, just to make sure everything in the home is how we expect it to be. You'll bring your driver's license, and so you need to know your social security number. Bring your funds. You'll get keys upon funding. Make sure you've got your insurance, your utilities, all that, and your mail, all that stuff already lined up. And again, we will send you emails as we get closer. That's one thing that Kim does, is she sends you some emails with information about that to make sure that all that's that you have everything that you need to do and know exactly what to do. And then once that's all done, it's time to move. We do have a wonderful trailer that you can use, and we'd love for you to use that to make your trip, your move easier. And you just need to get with me, and we'll see if it's available. And as long as nobody else is using it, you can use it. And we'd love for you to use that for your move if that's helpful to you. Or in the future, if you need to run to Home Depot and pick something up and you need some extra space to do it, holler at me. If it's available, you can use it. We want to serve you. And so this is just one way that we get to serve you and be there for you. And then we have some resources. So again, you don't have to look at all this right now, but we always are keeping a list of resources of great people that do great work. And so feel free to reach out anytime. Again, I'll send this to you, and so you can take a look at that as well. And then finally, just thank you. Thank you for, like I said, trusting us with your home purchase, and thank you for letting me and our team be a part of this journey for you. I know that this is a big one. Most people, this is the largest purchase they will ever make in their lives. And so thank you so much for trusting me with this. And I'm so excited to help you find your dream home, your next investment, whatever that is. But so excited to be on this journey with you. And let me know what questions you have.